What's up? Look at that. I have a podcast. That's crazy, right? Today we have a very special guest. I don't think really needs any introduction. Just Gabriela Bañuelos. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming.
No, thank you. Thank you for asking me to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is cool.
I remember hitting you up and I was just like, would you be down to pop into the podcast? You know, like the last time we saw each other, we shot the video. The Mexican mom.
Oh yeah,
Latina,
that was here. And then the cholas bailando. The classic.
Cholas bailando cumbia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's back. We're throwing it back to like 2011, 2010 maybe.
Dude, you're better with math probably than I am. I don't know. It is like, yeah, the 2000s for sure.
Yeah, that was a crazy. So just in case you guys don't know, Gabby and I, elephant in the room, we that's right. We were the stars of High School Sucks the Musical.
That no one ever saw. And I still get asked, when is it coming out?
To
my
this day.
answer is the same. I don't know, and I wish I knew.
You know what's crazy is like, so with Peter, our friend Peter, Pedro Flores, we've been doing like a lot of stand up together, and so like afterwards we do like a little Q&A. We talk to the audience, and I swear almost every single time they're like, "Where's High School Sucks the Musical?"
No.
And we're like, we all point at Peter like, "What's up, dude? Where is it?"
Oh
You know?
my god.
Yeah, and he's always kind of like, he's like, "Well, you know, Dad."
The same Peter. He's never gonna change.
No.
That's so funny. And I feel like that would be so much more relevant. I don't know. Maybe we would get canceled with
Honestly,
with that.
so what a
I don't
perfect
know.
thing for the podcast, dude.
Yeah.
Because like there was so many jokes in there that like I feel like today isn't really allowed. You can't really be making specific jokes. You know, like we're dropping the F-bombs in this video. We're like making pee-pee jokes like
Yeah.
constantly. There's a whole song where you're grabbing the main characters. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Which
how was
is,
that? Wait a minute. How was that for you and like your family? Like whenever you guys, you know, saw that YouTube video? Because when we dropped the trailers, we were dropping trailers for this. It's a High School Sucks the Musical, and 2009, 10, whatever. But we
Yeah.
were dropping the trailers on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they were doing good. They were kind of like going viral, which back
Mm-hmm.
then was like, I don't know, 500,000 to 1 million.
Yeah.
And so we were like, yo, this is sick. But how did your family react to that?
Honestly,
There's a dick spinning shot. If in case you guys didn't know, it's like a straight up dick spinning shot.
Till this day, I don't even know if my mom has seen it. I don't think I would want her to see that. My dad never saw it for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I don't even think family has personal. I never said like, hey, let's watch this specific one, because there were so many of them. So I think I might have shown them different ones. But that one specifically, I was like, that is not gonna be
When
something that I
certain
want my mom.
parts played,
Yeah.
just change it.
No,
Move
if
around.
my parents would have seen that movie, they probably would have questioned a lot of my choices.
Yeah, I could
'Cause-
see that.
But it's so good. I don't know. I
It's
feel
really-
like it would get a two sides, like people that love it and people that hate it.
Right. I think, damn, it was such a good, like, it's got a good story, good message, and it also kind of came in a time where, like, a lot of younger kids that were watching us, I feel like were very like, oh, let me know what high school is like. And that was, like, the comment we kept getting. I'm over here burping. That was, like, the comment. That was, like, the comment that a bunch of people was just like, bro, I'm in college already. Like, when is it coming out?
Yeah.
So it could have been, I feel like, very influential, very, you know, fun. But,
We just gotta leak it.
yeah, I just got to like
I just gotta I don't know how that came out. It just came out on YouTube.
You know what's crazy? And you told me this, but you have a copy of the movie.
No, I don't. Wait, what?
You
do?
told me one time that you had a copy of the movie.
No, I have the CD because we got the for some reason the music came out before the movie ever did.
Yeah. Oh, so you got the music.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Oh my God! Imagine
Dude,
I would have leaked it.
I almost started like an argument with Peter about it
No.
because I was like, yeah, Gabby says she has the movie, and he goes, no, she doesn't.
No,
I was
she
like,
didn't.
Gabby said she has like a CD copy or whatever it was like of the movie, and he was like, I promise you, she does not. I'm like, that's what she said, bro.
No. When
And I
did
was
you
like
say-
all angry. I was like, wow.
When did you say this? Okay, first of all, we should call Peter up right now and tell him that he lied.
I think he thinks you have a copy. I don't know.
No, I don't. I don't
But it
know
was a
if anyone
CD
does.
copy. Okay.
Yeah, it was the
Oh,
music. Because
gotcha.
that was the weird thing about that movie. It went backwards. Like the CD, the music came out before the movie came out.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of times it kind of fell into place that way. So I think like Tim got the deal where or, Peter got the deal of like from some company like, hey, can you create a whole album? Because they were seeing like the Tubity Doos, the Kings of MySpace, that kind of stuff that was popping off, and that's music, right? So they were like, what if you did a whole CD of this? And then I think Peter came up with the pitch of like, oh, what if it's like a musical that like is turned into a movie? So he pitched for something bigger, and I think like they approved it. So that's why like the CD came out first. We're recording all the sounds, and then after that, we just kind of wrote the story around it. You know? Well, him and Tim. I believe wrote like 95% of the songs.
Oh my God, what a time. Maybe one day, I don't know. It's over 10 years now, right? I think.
Over 10 years.
Again, I'm not very good with math. You might want to do that. But we started filming in 2009 because I was freshly out of high school.
Yeah, you were freshly out of high school.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and it took us like 2 years to film that, I think, because we had to keep stopping.
Yeah.
We would stop and something happened, and then we'd do it again, and finally, I don't even know.
We shoot at that college campus in
Long Beach.
Long Beach, which isn't there or is there? I'm not sure if it's still there.
I think it is. It's like the second Long Beach campus, somewhere in Long Beach. I don't know, but yeah, it should be out there. Yeah, that would have been so cool. I really thought that was going to take off our careers, and I was like, this is it. I'm a star. The world's going to see me and love me.
Love me.
No other way.
So you know what? I think that kind of leads into a really good question that we can get into is, you know, obviously that was years ago, and then like I know you were talking to me earlier about like auditioning and getting into films, and I actually just started getting back into like auditioning myself, and I just sent in like a self-tape the other day, and I felt like, man, this has been so long, and it feels weird because I haven't done that, right?
Yeah.
So someone as an aspiring actor as yourself, myself, you know, and I say actor just because it's like, it doesn't have to say.
We're gender neutral here.
Yeah, you can be like, I mean, you can play whatever role, but what is it something that for you, like that still keeps you kind of going and pushing towards this acting dream? Like, what was it for you before, like when you knew you wanted to become an actor? And then like, what is that now? Has it changed? Has it like grown? Are you trying new different things? What is that looking like for you right now?
Oh man, that's good, because I feel like the last 2 years have been probably the hardest years in this industry with acting, where I have felt like more than ever ready to give up. Like,
that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, like this is not an industry or a career that's for the like weak-hearted. You gotta really have like, oh man, this hard mentality of like almost like stubbornness, where you don't take no for an answer, and you're like, no, I'm gonna just keep going until it's gonna happen eventually, you know? Where it's been tested these last 2 years, really, I feel. One, because the industry went through a massive strike, so that's really changed a lot of things. And someone that's still non-union, which I'm still fighting for the union card, makes it even harder, because with smaller amount of projects out in this area of LA or California in general, because taxes are just so high, a lot of things get taken out into other countries or other states. And so networks and studios get very picky with who they pick. So whenever you're non-union, it kind of gets a little bit more hard. They kind of want to go into like SAG union people, right? So it's tested me a lot, where I have almost quit probably over 100 times in the last 2 years, where I've told myself, oh my God, you're such a failure in life. Why are you still doing this? What's the purpose? I've had to question it so many times. Like, what is my purpose? Why do I keep doing this? And like the one thing I always just go back to is like, nothing else makes me feel at home with what I do. Like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I mean, as a fellow thespian.
Yeah. You know, like there's just something of, and this can probably go with anyone that's like working in whatever they love. Like when you're there doing what you love, you just have this sense of like peace and clarity and like this joy, dude, that's like beaming from your whole face. And like, I can't see myself doing anything else other than that. Yeah. And that is what I keep telling myself. You really cannot. And it's not about like the fame, and because God, trust me, if that was about the fame and the money, This is not the business to be in because you're gonna be a broke ass artist
For
for
sure.
a very long
Especially
time.
when you
You know,
start. Yeah.
so like it's just the love to create stories and bring them to life and see how it moves people.
Yeah.
And like hearing someone tell you, because I've done live theater and like having people come up to me and tell me, I need me of this and you made me feel this and that. And I'm like,
But see,
yes.
Gabby, you're touching on something right now that I think is so important. Guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. Wanted to break real quick to let you guys know that we're going on tour. Who's Got Talent tour. That's right. So we're going to be in your nearest cities. Over in Texas, we're going to be in San Jose, all the way to Southern California down here. So get your tickets. They're linked below. We're excited to see you guys there. We got a lot of fun guests. You know, we got Chocolate Uno, Perro White, Edgar, Ciego, myself, and many more. So come on out. You guys could be a part of the action up on stage if you have a talent. Welcome to Who's Got Talent. Get your tickets below. We'll see you guys there. Now back to the episode. See, Gabby, you're touching on something right now that I think is so important for people to understand as like fellow actors. Is like you just gave this whole backstory to it, like why you love it so much, and I feel like everyone else really does do it for just the fame or the money, and I think we see that a lot in today's like social world, right? Like we see that, you know, and people like they rise up to the top, and then sometimes like, you know, good for them, right? But like.
But really, no kidding.
But really, no. But I think it's crazy because like I've met people that are just so the opposite of like, look. So for me, like I know that I've always like wanted to be different characters, and it was always very fun. Or like the idea of watching movies and seeing a character die, and then I'm like, wait, this motherfucker's in another movie? He's not dead? Like,
Yeah.
So you know, like you get so involved, and it's like for me, I maybe it goes a little deeper too. Like I felt like I was a very shy kid growing up. I was very calm, very quiet. And it wasn't until like I started doing kind of like impersonations of people where I noticed people were like smiling or laughing like, hey, that was pretty good. And I was like, cool. You know, like, so there was like a little part of me that was like kind of like, oh, that felt nice. And so you kind of keep going towards it and you start like really paying attention to other actors or films that you really love and respect. And so like, you start to question, right? Like, what do I want to become when I get older? And so an actor was one of my favorite things. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, I could pretend to be other people. And I would tell myself like, I'd pretend to be other people because sometimes I felt like me, myself was boring.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. I would have never thought that.
Yeah. I've said that a couple times, I think, out loud.
Well, now the world is going to know.
Everyone knows. But yeah, I've always felt like I needed to kind of pretend to be other things in order to kind of feel that what is the word I'm looking for?
Emptying?
No, not
like
empty. Like acceptability, you know?
Okay.
You know, so, but within that process, I found myself and, you know, even with like the acting stuff, because like I kind of went for it and then I kind of was like, then I just did social media and now I'm kind of going back into it. And I feel like my mind now going back into it is like, oh, my mind is so much healthier now because back then I was doing it almost kind of like for the wrong reason, which is just kind of like, oh, okay, like, you know, finally, like I'm being seen. But now I'm like, oh, I kind of just worked on myself. And then I even questioned, do I even care for this? And when I continue doing it or videos and skits, I'm like, no, I very much care for this. You know, and it's the creating of the stories and whatnot. So
Yeah, and you're so good at it. You're so
Thanks.
talented.
You are too.
Oh, thank you.
But you have something that's very different from what I have. You have like a natural talent. So I feel like for you, like you can sing, you could dance. So there's a lot of that stuff that already kind of gets combined into you as a whole, as a person, right? So whenever it comes to certain roles or whatnot, you're like, I can do that. Yeah, a salsera, done. Playing Selena, done. You know,
Why wasn't I auditioning for that
yeah,
today?
you know. But there's just so many things I think that like just kind of go into it. And have you seen the movie? I know you've seen it.
Have I?
La La Land.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. But she, like how she was talking about, you know, what's the actress's name? Emma.
Stone.
Emma
right?
Stone.
Yes.
And she's getting into it. She's like, maybe I'm not good with her little lisp. Maybe I'm not meant for this. You know what I mean?
I love her.
But I think that was such a significant moment in the film where like everyone that is becoming an inspiring actor like sees that and they're like, damn,
Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah.
It's like the same how you explained it.
Yeah, no, I have to sometimes go back and look at videos from actors that we admire, that I admire, and hear their stories and their journeys, and they didn't have it easy either. And there's so many of them that will say, yeah, I was about to quit, or I was living in my car. People would never know. I was like, wait, wasn't oh my God, one of your favorite actors,
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, wasn't he living in a car or something like that? Somebody was like, I mean, many of them.
And his, not living in a car, him and his family, I think, were living in a van. Like, he actually started providing for his family. He started doing like stand up.
Yeah.
But like, he gives a lot of credit to like his dad. He said like his dad would have been an amazing actor. And he sometimes he would get very emotional about the idea of like, he's kind of living his dad's dream a little bit.
Okay, and that touches base as to why also one thing that keeps me going is feeling that my dad would have been an artist at some point in his life. I mean, you knew him, you knew his voice.
Yeah, he sang a lot of the Chente songs.
Yeah, literally had his nickname.
Kind of looked like there was a little bit of a resemblance with your dad and
I
Chente
know,
a little
right?
bit, huh?
They could have been cousins.
Like the brows, yeah.
And the stash, yeah. No, yeah. So I think a lot
I'm
of it
so jealous
too.
of the stash. I can't. This is all I got. Sorry.
It's all right. We can put a little bit of coconut oil or something.
We're gonna add a little.
No, it's going good. It's going good. It looks good. But no, that has to do a lot with why I keep going too. One of the biggest things that was hard in the beginning was the fact that I didn't really feel the support of my dad. Specifically, my mom was a little bit more like, okay, this is what you want to do. Let's just give it a shot and see if you like it. If you really like it, you'll keep going. If you don't, you'll stop. Yeah. But my dad was a little bit more more of the protective side. You know, he was like hearing horrible things of the industry. So he was trying to protect his girl. And it was like in college, I remember doing a play, and this was also years later. My dad didn't even tell me that like night after my performance. It was like years later where he randomly just said, you know, that night at that show is where I realized that is where you belong. Like you're meant to be doing that. And oh my God.
Wow.
I'm good. But that's like where I finally felt like, oh my God, he accepts what I'm doing, you know, and sees it. And whenever I have my moments of, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore. Clearly, whatever I did do already was my time, and it's time to find something new. I'll like remember that, or I'll think about my dad and like my aunts, like his sisters, and how all of them could have been in the showbiz, but for whatever reason didn't pursue it. And I kind of feel like I got to do it for them too, not just for me, but for them.
Wow,
you know,
that's amazing. Yeah, I've met a lot of your family. You guys are all like. You guys are all so alive. You guys are like alive. You know, I remember like going to parties and whatnot, and it like they were definitely the family that like, no, the song is on. Get your ass up and dance right now.
Yeah,
you
you're
know
not
what
gonna
I mean?
be sitting down.
Yeah, and everybody was just 5 songs in, sweating. Our backs are just. We might get sick tomorrow, but you know. But that's so inspiring. That's amazing that I feel like we're meant to do that. I don't know if it's like in books or like in the Bible, but like we're meant to kind of like disrupt kind of like what our parents have in mind for us sometimes, and then we challenge them because we're like that next generation of them, and we're supposed to push back a little bit and have them see what we believe. And that night you were able to do that, you know, especially for someone that you love very much, you know, to come and see and be like, dang, I had to see it. And that's amazing. That's perfect. You know, some people don't get that lucky, you know, I feel like, because sometimes people are just like, nope, don't do it at all. Like you're wasting your time type of deal. But
yeah, and for so many years I thought that's what he probably thought. And I'm telling you,
but he's being protective, you know. He wants to make sure you're safe, you know, you move forward, and you're like, okay, like they want to do this, but sometimes they need to get used to this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Get out there, yeah.
And even with social media, like when I started doing videos, you know, he started being a part of them. He
would cooking,
he would encourage. He would have ideas himself. So I think he like started to realize like she's happy and also like the people I surrounded myself with, which was you guys, you know. And I feel like he kind of saw like she has her head straight, and she knows the people she should be around and the people she shouldn't be around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scary business. Like, I've been in it for so long, and you see things and you're kind of like, dang. So you understand as a parent, now that you're a parent, I mean, you'd probably do the same for your kids just to protect them.
There's moments where like I have to remind myself, there's definitely a lot of things that, and this would kind of get into the next topic, of things that like I'm still working on myself to be a better father. And like one of them is like my temper. I have a pretty like intense temper that can kind of go off sometimes. And I remember like praying actually when like Vanessa was pregnant and we didn't know it was like 2 boys there, right? So, so I remember thinking, okay, God, like just, whatever it is, I want it to be healthy, obviously, but also like help me have like the patience, Lord, and help me work on my anger and blah, blah. And me thinking like God was going to be like, zippity doo, boom. This dude was like, I'm going to give you twins. Here goes 2 of them. Wow. So it's like, I feel like God doesn't put you in these situations really to like, oh, it's going to magically go away. It's like, oh, now I'm going to walk you through this,
Oh, I like that.
Walk you through like getting to that point, climbing that mountain. And I'm not completely there yet. And I don't know if I will 100% be there, but there's been so much more like peace inside, whenever I see them get upset or like I visualize, like my mom or dad yelling at me when I was younger. And I was like, okay, dang, I just did the same thing. So I'll stop everything and I'll kind of go back and like talk to my kids afterwards. Cause I can tell like that they're so little, their emotions, they're still trying to figure it out. And here I am yelling sometimes, so I have to like stop everything, hold them, hug them. And I'm like, hey, everything's okay.
Oh,
okay.
But see yourself, you have that self-awareness that I feel like maybe our parents didn't, and it wasn't, they never had the intention to hurt us or to scar us or leave us with that trauma. I mean, I think our parents had their own traumas that they never really took the time to work through. So it just led on to to us, and it is what it is. And I've never had like rencor, like I've never like held that against my dad.
1 second. Hey Siri, ¿qué es rincón?
Yeah, we a little Spanglish here, okay?
A corner. No. But yeah, now how crazy it is for our parents, like, because their main goal is just like feed, provide, educate, don't be a baboso, don't be stupid, like it's kind of just that.
And just do better than what we...
And just do better.
Yeah, than what we did or what we had. Because, I mean, they risked so much and they did so much for us to be here where we are right now. So, I don't know. I've never held anything against my dad or my mom if they ever made me feel a type of way. I think I grew up and I started to understand, like, oh, why? Why were they like that? Or why did they think that was okay and never really apologize? Yeah. And like this podcast is, nobody's perfect. So why hold everyone against something that
for now it's completely something different. Just the Eric show.
Well, nobody's perfect, Eric, but I just think that you're aware of it and that's beautiful already, and that just shows like the guidance from God or just the work that you're doing on your own hand, and
but you hit it right on the nose. It's like that self-awareness or like come in a peace with specific things, because there's so many people, and I'm sure you know them, that just hold this anger for that just hang. I mean, look, see, but it's like they hang on to this anger, and they kind of just carry that through their entire life. Like I don't talk to that person anymore. We don't get along, or I don't, and it's just like, dude, life is really short. Life is so short for you not to stop, take a second, and like humble yourself too, because like. You make mistakes. I make mistakes. We're not perfect. But it's like there's some people that just get so sucked into like this their own world, and it's just me, where they don't really kind of stop to look at everybody else and be like, all right, what was their life like? Like why are they in that situation? Because I do that a lot now. I feel like more that I'm a dad. Like things that don't anger me as much. Like I'm kind of look at situations where someone bothered me at the store, someone did this. You've known me for a while. Like you've probably seen me get upset over specific things in my past. But like now I feel like, and I still do. Listen, I still do. Do you have a story? Is that what you?
Yeah, it just reminded me of something.
Just go for it.
No.
Hang on to it. Hang on to it. But I think it's just so important to kind of give yourself grace too, you know, like in specific situations, like, all right, that was stupid.
Yeah, I think not letting someone else's energy affect you so much because so many people are carrying so many things throughout their life, right? Whether you know someone for years or you just met someone that day and they kind of rubbed you the wrong way, like you don't know what they were going through. Now it's your choice. Do you want to continue being around this person? You can choose to also stay away from someone that probably doesn't make you feel the way you want to feel, you know. But it doesn't give you the right to probably go behind their back and be like talking all this smack about that person because you really don't know what they're going through. But I also feel like at a certain place as an adult that's carrying so much weight, then it's your responsibility to be like, why am I angry all the time? Why do I think it's okay to talk to somebody a certain way when it's not them that hurt me? So why can't I just go off and do the work? You know,
exactly that.
So it's there's like a battle of back and forth. Like, okay,
but how does somebody get there? You know what I mean? Like, how does somebody get there? Like, because right now what you just said is great, but it's like how does somebody get out of their own way of thinking? They themselves have to maybe go through a point where like they hurt someone so bad they're like,
maybe.
Damn, what did I do?
Yeah,
and then they have to stop and go through that same process. Like, I don't know if this person's having, you know, like a horrible fucking season right now.
Yeah.
And here I come, you know, throwing in my feelings and just like fucking it up even deeper for them because over a little thing, you know, like whatever it could be.
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to answer the question of how does someone get there? Because I feel like everyone gets to their point in their own way.
Yeah.
But just speaking out of my experience, I don't think I ever carried so much of the weight around where it was like, okay, this and this happened to me in my life as a child. Now I'm just going to be angry with the world. Like, I don't think I ever carried that. Thank God I wasn't that kind of person that happened to. But I think I just got to a place where I kept it to myself so long. But then little by little, I just kind of started talking about it and hearing others talk about it and realizing, okay, I'm not the only one that went through that.
Yeah.
It's others that have, and the more you talk about it, and again, you can choose to talk about it if you're ready or not, and you choose who you want to share these things with. And I think that has helped me heal too from the things that I've gone through, you know? And
it's having like sympathy, but also more empathy, right? If it's exactly something that someone else has gone through, it's you're being more empathetic because if somebody goes through something similar to what you went, then you're like, I know exactly what this person is going through, and
you don't feel so alone.
You don't feel alone. But you also don't want them to feel that, right? If it's like someone younger or whatever, you're like, oh, I know exactly what they're going through. And which would lead me to my next question is like, what would you tell younger Gabby? You know, like Gabby of 2025, what would you tell like maybe 15-year-old Gabby? You know, because I think we're so hard on ourselves in a lot of different moments in our lives that if we're given the opportunity of all the knowledge you have now, like how old are you now? 25? All the years, right?
I still look at the right now. Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I think we're aging pretty well. I don't
Hopefully, we don't see these fine lines yet. I'm 33, going on 34 this year. Yeah. Wow.
Do you, based off 33, then can you take a guess how old I am? You're like 46?
Oh, I know how old you are. I can say it out loud? Okay, you don't mind? You're 38. No, 39.
39.
Yeah. No way. That just I just said it out
Angel,
loud.
cut that out. Cut all this shit out.
39. Wow. We met when I was like 18.
You're 18. I was like 22 going on 23.
Oh
23.
My God.
Yeah, we had a like a 5-year difference situation. And I remember I remember people talking about that too. Just kind of like, oh my God, Eric. I was just like, what?
And now I think about it, I was like, it was just 5 years. Like,
yeah.
Not that bad.
And then now like my wife and I are 12 years.
No way. Well, she's
crazy.
obviously like mature for her age because you would never think that. Like you talk to her and she's like an old, like,
you know
soul.
what she is? She is very much an old soul. She, and I think it's because she has 2 older siblings and she has, like her dad and her are like very close with one another. So like, yeah, like he has like a very, like he himself has like an old soul to him, but like they're very close in that
That's
way,
good.
you know. So
Yeah. Well, going back to the question about what would I tell my 15-year-old self is, I think.
thank you.
Yeah. Wow, I remembered something. I'm listening.
Look at you
Ay,
go.
mírala. I think I would just tell her that you're not alone. That it's okay to.
'Cause you're talking to 15-year-old Gabby.
Yeah, like Gabby, you are not alone, and you're allowed to reach out to people whenever you feel alone, whenever you feel like the whole world is out against you. Like, it's okay to ask for help. I feel like there's so much pressure in the Hispanic Latino community where you don't say things, you keep it all to yourself, you don't even tell family, you know. But I think I've learned that it's okay to talk about the hard stuff. And
Yeah.
I think as a child, 15, you're a child, you know, like who do you go to? Unfortunately, I didn't really have that relationship with my parents. I love them to death and I will do anything for them, but it's not their fault either because they probably didn't have that structure growing up. You know?
Different time.
I would hear my dad sometimes be like, "No, we don't tell our problems to anybody, not even the family. Like this stays here between us." And I'm like, "But then how do you try to figure it out? How do you like get the second opinion, the advice, the guidance? Because we don't know
But
it
can we
all."
pause on that really quick? I love where you're going right now with this, but can we pause on like what your dad is saying? And I think I'm understanding a little bit of like the idea is not to like dismiss your feelings. I think it's more of like, hey, don't dwell on the negative stuff so much, and let's be reminded of what we have now.
That's a good way of looking at it.
I think so.
Okay.
Because there's been too many situations where like myself, like I've always been a very big like, no, let's talk about this. Let's get into this. Why did this happen? Like, you know, let's try to unravel. Or sometimes it's okay to just kind of like, hey, más calladito, te ves bonito.
Más bonito.
I think you told me. I think your mom.
Yeah,
always said
that's
that
my
one, right?
mom's thing. Yeah.
So that actually stuck with me.
Oh.
So I take that one a lot. And so it's like, sometimes it's okay to let you sit in your feelings. But I think like back then, like for our parents, it was very much like, pasó, lo que pasó, pasó. Y ya. Así es.
Y se acabó.
That's the singer in her, y'all. But you know what I mean? Like 100%. I mean, today, like, yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Or once you sit in it, then afterwards, can we figure out like the resolution? Can we have that
Yeah. I think
conversation?
there's just like to everything and anything, there's just an extent of how long can you sit with it.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to affect you, your day-to-day life or your relationships with people, then it's something that probably needs to be spoken. If it's something little and you realize like after you sat with it, like that really wasn't a big deal. Okay, get over it.
Right.
So
right.
I think it just depends the situation, you know, of what it could be. But yeah, no, I think our parents, and specifically I mentioned my dad a lot because I always heard it from him a lot of times, like, oh no, we don't really like tell people our issues. And then when family would find things out, they'd be like, what, we didn't even know. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Like, we were not supposed to tell you. So
This is the book though. We wrote everything down.
yeah.
But I don't know. There's like, I think like now after going over through time, like kind of just like there's something about that I appreciate. Because it's like, that means that they were so strong enough to just kind of be like, let it, you know, like, why am I going to worry about something like that? You know, it's like that analogy, that teacher, you know, that talks about like holding like that glass of water and holding it for a minute, holding it for 2 minutes, you know, you can probably do that, but holding it for a day or two, like it becomes heavier. So it's like the same thing with anger, the same thing with anything that you worry too much about, you know, like your arm's going to hurt. You're going to put yourself through that hurt.
I like that too.
So I don't know if I use that analogy right, but you know what I mean?
It
like,
made sense to me.
It makes, in a weird way, it makes sense. Because yeah, the same, if I try to go back with conversations of anything with my dad, right? I didn't really get a lot of like fatherly advice myself growing up. And, recently, well, my tia Maria came over and, my cousin Jackie, we're all hanging out. It was a good time. But they told me something about my dad, like when he was younger, like a terrible thing, like something that used to happen to him, like really, really bad, right? So just let your imagination think of something bad. Oh, God. But like, for some reason, when they shared that with me, I was like, damn. Like, how do you function normal as a human being getting older? And for some reason, like any like kind of animosity or anger that I had towards my dad, like for some reason kind of just like kind of went away a little bit, right? Like it kind of was just like, damn, bro, like that must have been very tough for you. Never talked about it, never nothing, to this day, if like my dad and I talk, he got deported, he's in Mexico. And my dad suffers from like bipolar disorder. So there's been times where I've asked my dad, and for years, I'm like, Dad, what do I do in this situation? Dad, what happens if this happens? And my dad always gave me the same answer. He's just like, oh, just pray about it, talk to God. I'm like,
again.
Oh, yeah. Like, Dad, what am I supposed to do with that? But it's weird because it's like that actually ended up becoming probably his best like advice to me. Maybe it was so simple, but it was probably like the most honest and something he felt to his core. Yeah, there was a lot of things that I feel like I could have been like, oh, okay, can you give me details? Can you like tell me a situation that you've been in? But I think like for him, it's just like, just pray about it, talk to God. I was like, all right, so.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Prayer is so strong, dude.
It is.
It is so strong,
and I think that leads you into, because I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that are like, they don't believe in God. They're like, what does that mean? And so you kind of go on your own journey, like, all right, who is Jesus? Who is who is everybody? And then you kind of, it's actually been very fascinating because I think like spiritually, I've gotten a lot closer to God, and now especially having like the kiddos, and so it's just kind of like I really want to make sure that there's a balance of, even with myself, like being the best version I can be, even though it feels like there's a lot of holes, growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, so how's your day? No.
No, I think we need to find something to lean on to sometimes, because not everyone's going to have the answer for you or the answer that you want to hear. True. So kind of just having that relationship with God or whatever it is that you believe in, I think it helps you really get through those times, because that's what has helped me with the darkest times of my life. Like, okay, I feel like I'm not strong enough to go to somebody and talk about what I'm going through. So let me just have a moment here with God and talk. And one way or another, I'm like, ooh, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. Okay. I'm going to keep going. Yeah.
Do you read like your Bible at all, or do you get into any of that?
You know what? No. I grew up Catholic, as you know, and I went to Catholic school until I was in 8th grade. And then I went public, and that's where I read the Bible mainly. I did catechism and all of that. And then I went to church till who knows how old I was. And then I kind of just stopped. I started to question it a lot, especially Catholicism. Yeah, there you go. And I went through like not a dark phase, but like there was a time where I kind of was just like, I'm not really gonna have a relationship with God. And then somehow I just started coming back to it in my own way. And I still would like to say I'm Catholic because I do love certain prayers and certain things that the Catholic Church does. But I'm like a full-on devoted, practicing, going to church every Sunday kind of Catholic. So maybe I'm just a Christian, but I say a lot of the Catholic stuff, like the certain prayers. But I think for me personally, I just feel like having your own personal relationship with God is probably the most important thing, no matter where you are. I mean, some people may not even have a church nearby. It doesn't mean that they're any less of a Christian than you or I are because we have a church nearby. Like, I think you just carrying a relationship and understanding, I guess good from evil, pretty much, like I just want to be a good person. And there's times where, I'll probably like research, okay, let me see a scripture from like what I want to just like research. Like I kid you not, sometimes I'll wake up and be like, okay, God, what do you want me to see today? And like, what I'm going through. What do I need to see online right now? And I swear to you, Eric, I will pop up. It'll pop up either on Threads, whatever social media thing, or even if I go straight to Google and I'll be like, scripture of the day. And it'll be something that I literally need to listen to. And I'm like, okay, if that is not something that literally is telling you signs that there's a bigger picture than what we are here, we're like this little speck and there's something way more grand than us.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just it's crazy. And I think little things like that throughout my like young adulthood has made me even a stronger believer. Like and now even more with my dad's passing, you know, and like it's just there's a lot of moments where I'm like, man, it's sad. Sometimes I get sad to know that some people really just don't believe, and I'm like, it's okay, maybe one day, and I'll pray for those people, you know. I'll be like, I hope they find you someday, you know.
Absolutely. I think that is our purpose, kind of to have that relationship with God, a higher power, or however anybody else could see it, you know. How you were talking about the phases of just kind of like, is this for me? And then you kind of just like, I don't even know if I believe anymore. I feel like that's very important for anybody, especially anyone that's raised like in the church, Catholic, Christian, whatever, for you to kind of search it on your own, question everything, exhausted, because I almost feel like God's like, try me.
Yeah.
Try me. Because it's like, if there's anybody out there listening to, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but it's called The Case for Christ. It's a book I read, and then they did an adaptation, like a movie for it, and it was amazing. And it wasn't like one of those cheesy, like kind of Christian movies, like where like the acting is all cheesy, but it's like really good. It's called The Case for Christ. If anyone wants to go watch it, it's a story of a man that is atheist, and his wife like starts to become Christian, and he gets very upset about that. Okay, there's like a whole story about it, but it's based on a true story. And he gets so upset, and he works as a journalist. And so he secretly tries to like, I'm going to go disprove that Jesus wasn't real, or that he didn't die on the cross. And if I could disprove Jesus and the resurrection, the whole thing falls apart. You know, not to spoil it, but close your ears for the next 30 seconds. But, you know, like obviously like he goes into it and he actually starts becoming a very strong believer, you know. That's all I'll give. But it's such a amazing thing, I think, for a lot of people to go through, especially their life. If not, it just kind of feels very empty, very lonely.
Yeah.
And people kind of have the, oh, well, if I'm just a good person, then I should just be. And it's like, no, it's more than that. Where does good come from? You know, there's a moral compass in us, in all of us, but from where? It doesn't just magically happen. This episode is brought to you by The Down is Fool. That's right, my very own chili oil that you can get right now at thehousefood.com. Use code PODFOOD20 for 20% off your first purchase. You know, we're really excited about this. This is something that has come a long way, and we're about to get into supermarkets soon. But if you want to get your hands on it now, thehousefood.com. Now back to the episode.
Oh, no, you know what I was going to say? Oh my God, I'll never forget this argument that we had.
Oh shit! All right, cool. Let's get into it.
No, it was just so funny. There was an argument I made. I don't know if you'll even remember this because it was so dumb. But maybe. I was literally thinking to myself when it was happening, like, "Wow, what an ungrateful ass."
No, give it to me. Give it to me.
Okay, so pretty much we were. I was like hanging out with you, right? And then I made you. Not necessarily a fruit salad because I think it was just apples. I don't know if you remember this.
Wait, it's clicking.
But I just made you, I cut up some apples, and I remember you were watching TV or playing video games, and I went and gave it to you like, oh, hey, I made you some apples as a snack. And you had the audacity to look at the apples, and you were like, I don't like my apples like that. And it turned into a huge argument, Eric. We got in a big fight because you did not like the way I sliced your apples. And
how did you slice them? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think they were just like, like a regular apple. Like, when they're like,
oh, that makes me so angry. No.
Clearly, OCD over here. They apparently, I had to take off the seeds. I think I didn't peel it. I can't remember what it was, but you were really upset that I gave you these apples not the way you like them.
Oh my God.
I don't remember how I reacted to that, but I also have a little bit of an anger issue, which I've been working on. No. Yo nunca. Yo siempre así de feliz. No, but you and I would have these heated arguments sometimes, and they were just so dumb. Yeah. But that one was one that stuck because I couldn't believe it. I was like, this son of a, I made him some apples as a snack, and he said, nah, honey, that ain't the apples I want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is one, hilarious.
Yeah.
2, I've never changed. No.
Oh, poor Vanessa.
Yeah, poor Vanessa. You know what's funny is like there is a lot of things like that even like now in my relationship with Vanessa, like where I have to stop myself because yeah, I do have a little bit of an OCD thing. Like like I don't know if you remember this, but like I have to wash my hands after everything.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
So like if I was to go touch a dog, my hand would stay frozen until I find a sink. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
I can't function right now.
Yeah.
I need water.
Like,
and I know there's other people like me, but you know what I mean?
my
Like,
sister.
oh, what's that?
Evie's like that.
Is she?
Yeah, she's like, Evie, can you go do this? I just washed my hands. I can't touch anything anymore. I'm like, you can just wash it again.
That's a good impression of her, her voice.
She's going to hate me for that.
She goes, I saw the podcast. Yeah, no, that's something that like I've definitely I'm so happy you brought that up, by the way. Because one, it was silly, right? And I'm sure we had a lot of silly arguments. And there's something that I've learned, especially now, like as a husband, is and this is something actually in the Bible, but the love is supposed to come from the man. Like the man's love dictates everything in the house. And so meaning like if you get angry to things, if you get like upset about like you're supposed to be the one that kind of like, you know, if you're getting in a fight with your spouse, kind of like get over it, knock it off, knock that shit off, like pick it back up, you know, and because if you're the head of the household and you have this negative energy, like what are you doing? Grow up. And so I've actually had a lot of conversations with myself like that, you know, like even if it's as stupid as the apples, because even though you're saying that there's a thing about the apples, I have a thing about an egg with Vanessa.
Oh my God.
And
she didn't cook it correctly. She overcooked it.
she broke the yolk.
Yeah, I was going to say, you like your yolk runny.
Oh my God. I'm going to just
my
put you
God.
both in here, like a podcast. Like,
we
does he do this? No.
Oh my God.
That would actually be funny. The apples. First of all, can I just say I'm sorry?
It's okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Apology accepted.
You're like, oh.
15 years later.
I can move forward.
It makes me lose a lot of sleep, you guys.
Yeah. This eye has... Wait, the twitching stopped. No, but it's like... I think if I was to go back and try to understand Eric then was very much like what I would have done for you. I think Eric would have been like, well, I'm not going to serve this thing with seeds on it. I'm going to carve the seeds out. And then also like I don't know what else, but like the seeds was probably the biggest thing. So yeah, you shouldn't have put the seeds. No. What's wrong with you? I'm playing a video game. Do you want me to eat seeds?
Yeah, you freaking were playing a video game. I wish we could like go back into time and see that.
Wow.
Oh my God, it's so vivid in my head.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I did lose a lot of sleep with life and that. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry because it should have came more of a place of like, you were thinking of me. Thank you for thinking of me in this moment, and for just making me a snack like that. That's great. You didn't do it right, but no. But see, like that's like a little thing about me that I feel like is always kind of had that maybe comedy because you can laugh at it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
you gotta laugh about the crazy stuff eventually.
Everything.
Like literally my life this morning was chaotic and driving here I was like, ha ha ha, I can't believe that happened. Well, if I don't get it, then I don't get it.
That's a great thing about you that you've always had. So if I could just throw some roses towards your way, you've kind of always had a very positive, you'd get upset about some things, but you've always had a very positive outlook on things. Like you would laugh things off. And I think when we were dating in the past, like it kind of like bothered me how good you were at that.
Oh.
Because I was like, why can't I get there?
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like there's like, I would get angry over anything, over little like things. If we were driving and like, you remember me driving and like cursing people out, just, this bear's not using the turn signal, you know? But like for you, like you had moments where you're like, ay, estas moscas, or you know, you were saying something, you're like, oh, and you'd be like, whatever. And you would just like, you kind of just like, you're like, well, the sun's out today.
Yeah.
There's some good news, you know? So like, I remember like in my head, I was like, how does she do that? How is she able to flip that switch? And so like I think there was little moments like that where maybe stuck with me. It's like my personality, and I was kind of like, I really got to work on being more of a light like that, because I felt like a lot of times you would come into a room and you were kind of like a light. A lot of people are like, yeah, you go like Gabby, your tias were ready to dance with you, blah blah blah. Sometimes I'd be like,
What about me?
yeah, yeah, not really.
I know, I'm kidding.
But it would be kind of like if I was upset about something, like I almost wanted to be kind of like, oh, don't talk to Eric because he's upset. I'm like, what a little bitch.
Seriously.
And you had to deal with that for a while.
Wow. No, that's so funny that you say that, because I think you're being a little too hard on yourself. I don't think you were as bad as you think you are. Or maybe still are, if you think you still are like that. I don't think. I remember you getting upset for dumb little things, but
yeah.
I still think that.
I love how this podcast is going, by the way. This is funny. I don't know how many other people can do a podcast like this where it's just kind of like, hey, invite someone, here's the date, and then just talk about your shit.
No, but I think it's still very relatable with life and people
For sure.
and stuff. But I just think you need to give yourself a little bit more grace, because you weren't as bad as you think you were. Maybe you kept it a lot to yourself, and I just knew how to manage it at some point. I don't know. But yeah, and you know what? Going back to how I'm really good at just letting things go, I need to start finding that again, because I think the older I've gotten,
You become a little grump.
It's not a
Get
grump.
off my lawn, kids. No.
Not necessarily a grump, but it's gotten a little bit harder to just be like, it happened, whatever,
Yeah.
And now I feel like my boyfriend right now is more like, hey, it's okay, just let it go, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm over here like, no, but why did it have to happen this way? But
that's good that you have that balance.
Yeah, so I think sometimes it's so funny, because I feel like most recently a lot of things have been changing in my life as an adult and growing up, where I kind of sit back and I catch myself thinking, man, I kind of need to find that 20-year-old Gabby again, like where she was just a little bit more like what's the word? Like maybe like a life what's the dang word? I can't even find the word. Like kind of just a little bit more carefree.
Okay.
And I didn't think too hard on everything, and I kind of just said, si va, y si no, pues no. And I think now that I'm older, maybe I'm carrying this expectation of myself where, oh my God, the clock is ticking, I need to do this and this and that, and it's weighing down on me a little bit, and I'm kind of like, oh, it's messing with my moods, with my days. And I'm like, hey, where's that person that used to say, F it, if it does happen, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I feel like I'm catching myself telling myself that, hey, it's okay. It's just go with the flow. Before, it was more like, go with the flow. It is what it is. As long as you're doing what you need to be doing, you'll eventually get to where you want to go. Yeah. And now I think at the older I am, and maybe it does come down to a little bit of that expectation, that society expectation of, oh, you're already in your 30s and you're not married, you don't have kids, and what are you doing with your life? You still have this dream. And I'm like, honey, keep your dreams alive, because that will literally keep you alive as a person. But
I think you just answered yourself.
Huh.
Yeah, I'd say that to yourself in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like kind of like, where's that old Gabby? Just like, hey, like positive reinforcement again towards yourself. Like, hey, like we're still out here, dude. Like we're given a day to try again, and that's all that matters. And if you feel like there's oh, this isn't going the way it's supposed to, because we all have that expectation. Like at this age, I should have been, or I could have been here, or I should have, But it's like, you need to have those moments, because sometimes what if you just kind of shake things up a little bit? Okay, what am I doing? What am I going to do different for like the next 2 quarters of this year? What am I going to do for 2026? By 2026, I want to reach this small goal. Have a bigger goal, but like get those steps in of like the smaller goals. You know what I mean? Because that's so important, and there's a lot of things that I relate to that in that sentence as well. Whether it's like even like my acting career, like, or the YouTube stuff, or it's just like, the whole podcast idea right here, right? Like for me, I was like, I don't know if I'd ever do a podcast, but like I forget that like I love having conversations with people, and I know you do too. And so this right here alone is just kind of like, oh, this is fun. Like there should be a good group of people that I think care, but also like to voice this stuff out is therapeutic.
Yeah. Talk about
You
it.
know, but yeah, I would give yourself the same thing, the same grace that you're saying. You know, like kind of like, hey, you know, we're moving forward, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
And then just set up those little goals to get to the big ones. Because sometimes people think like, oh, I got this big goal done. Like, no, like literally kind of piece it little by little, you know? You're not just going to go to the gym one time and then just be like this.
I really thought that would happen, but I gave up on that gym life. No,
Okay, or literal.
it's
Yeah.
exhausting. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, and I feel like you've always been really good at setting those little goals, and then you finally get to where you want to get to.
Oh.
You've always been really good at pep talks. That I'll give you that.
You think so?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you've always been really good at that, and not just with me. Like I would see you doing that with your friends too. So congratulations! I'm
Thank you.
applauding you on that. Giving
Yeah.
you your roses.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. No. I think a lot of times, at least in my case, like I probably do a lot of like the advice giving or the pep talks or as helpful as I can be because I think that's what I would have wanted, like growing up. Damn, I don't know why that came out emotional to me. Like, I think
it touches something a little chord.
yeah. But it makes me very happy to see a lot of other people succeed, to see people just improve themselves overall, you know. And I think a lot of that happened to like, you worked at Star,
Oh yeah.
you know. we worked with like kids after like an after school program, and like being able to see them and like help them understand their emotions or situations at home, you know, whatever it is, like just an adult talking to them that they think maybe is cool. And you're giving them that little like bit of encouragement is just enough to kind of like, hey, you know, I had that talk with or hey, you know, I worked on my basketball, whatever it is that they're going through. But to see them like grow, succeed, like it's such a rewarding feeling. Like just that alone. I don't want anything in return, but I know like, hey, this is gonna help you.
And
That's cool.
And
cool to see.
and speaking about the kids, isn't it crazy how some of them like now with social media will find you, and it's really sweet having them like say something like that, like
Mr.
hey,
Eric.
yeah, like
Miss Gabby.
yeah, because of you, I was able to do this, and you inspired me to do this, and I'm like, oh, cool, I was able to give an impact somehow, a positive impact to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because man, kids they go through a lot.
I'll end it off with like one more question.
Okay.
And has there been, and maybe to anyone listening, has there been a situation or something that you had a pep talk with yourself, you know, and you were like, Gabby, we can't do that again. Like don't ever do that again. Like we need to learn and get better from this. That maybe someone else out there can relate to. And then how did you get to solving that problem?
I think the biggest pep talk lately has been telling myself you're not a failure, because like I said, I feel like I haven't achieved certain things that I've already hoped that I would have at this age. So if anything, I feel like I'm still kind of learning and growing in that aspect. Not really, probably don't have the best answer for that.
Yeah.
for people. I think I'm just still like in the process of trying to figure that out myself. Like how can I have those moments of pet talks and find the positive light at the end of the tunnel on that thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I'm still figuring that out, to be honest. I don't even want to like bullshit and say, oh yeah, I know the answer to that and how you can figure that out.
Yeah.
I think I'm still myself trying to figure that out right now more than ever, because a lot of things have shifted in my life after my dad's passing, and I think I'm still trying to navigate life through that. And it's been weird. It's been a weird time.
So can I ask you this to kind of lean into that? Is there anybody, or like for yourself, like going through that kind of grief, right, of losing someone you love so much? Like, is there anything you learned about yourself, family, and then for anyone else out there too dealing with something similar?
The journey of grief is never ending, and you might think you're really strong one day, and then you're not, and that is okay. And it's going to be 4 years, and I still feel like I don't think you ever like find a way to not feel that emptiness, but you just learn how to navigate through it. And I think it's just allowing yourself in a grieving journey to accept that it's going to be ugly and messy, and that's probably how it's always going to be, and accepting it because it is part of that the rest of your life. It's something that you carry for the rest of your life, you know? And yeah, I think it's just like having grace with the ugly, because it's I don't think you ever stop having those ugly days. And also not living in this kind of what is it, and I can sometimes I talk in English and sometimes I can't talk in English, like culpable, feeling guilty. There you go. Feeling that guilt of you could have done more. What could you have done to change the outcome? I think that's something that not just I have battled with. A lot of people that I've spoken to with the loss of a parent or my siblings themselves, you know, and we have to talk about it, and we have to remember like we did everything we could, and not living in that I could have done more mentality, because that'll drown you and it'll put you in a dark, dark place.
Wow.
Yeah. Which
I'm sure is a very like common thing for a lot of people, right? To kind of go into that, like.
Yeah, I went through that for my God, probably the whole year, the first year. Like it was a constant because my dad was under my care in the beginning. It was me and my mom, and it all just kind of happened out of nowhere. And then, yeah, it was just a shit show of how things happened with my dad. And I think seeking God and trying to have him help me accept the outcome. And of course, crazy enough, certain things of my dad like would happen and after his passing, and I'm like, oh my God, I think like that's literally my dad trying to talk to me and telling me. Like I will share this. I did have a dream of my dad. This was probably maybe a month after his death, and it felt so real, Eric. Like it felt like him. Like I don't even know how to explain it, but it felt like it was him in my dream. And he was telling me, like the whole time I'm chasing my dad, trying to tell him, I need to take you back to the hospital. You're not done getting better. Wow. And this whole entire time he's like running away from me. And now I have my two sisters running after him as well. And like I set up this plan of you guys go do this and I'm going to go get him. And pretty much he always kept looking back, never spoke to me, but just kept looking back with a smile, that smile he always had. And then eventually he finally says like, I'm okay. I'm happy, I'm fine, and it's okay. Like those are the words he told me. And I can't erase that from my mind. That is there, and I carry that dream, because when I do feel like, oh my God, where is he?
You remember those words?
Yeah.
I'm fine, I'm okay.
And I feel like, okay, that was my dad talking to me, telling me he's okay.
Yeah.
And that helps me with this grieving journey sometimes. And you do have to like sometimes talk about it, because I feel like the more I talk about him, the more I keep him alive, his memory alive, it really helps me like heal a little bit, even though I don't think you ever really like fully heal from that.
Yeah. I know for a lot of people that I've also spoken to about things, you know, of loss, and it's not like it gets any easier, right? But it's definitely like just those moments, those memories, keeping them alive, especially with the stories and whatnot. And you know, like Dad was such a like happy dude. Like he was so happy.
Yeah,
he was such a happy, and I'm sure like if he tells you a story about his like his past, like I'm pretty sure he had some pretty like fucked up shit that happened, you know. And but like yeah, he just had like the same kind of beam that you have, you know, like the same smile. You guys have like a very like the same smile, you know. And then so I think it's like little moments where I think he'd be very, very much proud of his kids, especially you know, seeing you guys and like,
yeah, you know, it was beautiful.
Doing the best. Yeah.
That we had met somebody that had just met my dad, like maybe a month, like a few months before everything happened.
Yeah.
She came to the house after it all happened, and she like wanted to see all his kids, and we were all there. And she told us like, I literally just met your dad because we were doing something for the house. And he was just nonstop talking about every single one of you and saying how proud he was of all of you. And my dad wasn't someone that really ever expressed his feelings like that to us. You know, he was more of a, I'm going to show you instead of verbally saying it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that one of my sisters had was feeling like I'll never know what my dad felt about me. Like how, cause she was young, she was and she's like, I'm broken because I don't know if he ever thought, did I do the right things in my life? Am I succeeding? Does he feel proud of me? And I kid you not, again, another sign. It was this lady that comes out of nowhere as she's feeling this, because I think it was like a few days before this lady came to the house. My sister told me that she felt like, I don't know if my dad was proud of me. And then this lady comes out of nowhere, comes and visits us and tells us, I'm sorry of our loss. And then she decides to open up about that. She's like, hey, I just want to let you know your dad told me each and every one of you, he literally, because we have pictures in the house, pointed at all of us, said, oh, this is so and so, and this is what I'm proud of about them, this is so and so, and this is.
What was she? What she did?
She was, oh god, I think they were like trying to, what was she doing? They were trying to do something with the house, like fix something up. I don't know what it was, but it was just like a business kind of like thing for the house. And yeah, she was so sweet enough to come because she had just met my dad and my parents and whatever. So I guess she had found out about the news and came over. But isn't that crazy? Like my sister literally days before this lady comes is crying to me, telling me, I just feel like I'll never know if my dad was proud of me. And then a few days later, she comes and says, your dad was proud of all of you. He literally told me word for word what he was proud of you, what he was proud of you, what he was proud of you. And I'm like, okay, like signs, literally.
Yeah.
You know, so things like that help, I think, in the grieving journey too. You know, hearing people talk about the person you love so much. Damn, this just got dark.
No, I understand. It's just it's one of those moments too, which is kind of like to sit in it, you know, because it's something that happens to all of us, and we all go through, and some unfortunately sooner than others, and you know, I know that there's you know, there's things that I fear, you know, and that is like losing, like, say my mom, dad type of situation. And so like, I don't know, just hearing you talk about all of it, you know, it's kind of one of those like, holy shit, you know, like you're so strong, one, for going through any of that, and even mentally, like, because I've known you for years, you know, and to know like, you're opening up about this, and you're talking about like your family and how what this journey is like for you, and I'm very grateful for you to share it with all of us, you know. So thank you. As far as like your family members and your siblings, you know, everyone else, what was like kind of the reaction, I guess, like moving forward now that it's been years, you know? And like sometimes they say things like that, like brings actually like siblings closer. Is it the same situation for you?
Yeah, I think it did.
You guys were pretty close already, right? Like
yeah,
your
I
sisters,
feel like
brother.
we've always been pretty tight. If anything, I think my oldest brother, you know, he lives outside of state. I think that was kind of like a reality check of, damn, I gotta go visit my family more often, because he's been out for years.
Oh, man,
and now like he's literally here in LA right now as we speak, and he comes out a lot more, so much more often. Like I used to probably see him once every 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, and now it's like, wow, he's coming in again. Cool. We just saw him 2 months ago, you know, and he'll stay for a longer period now maybe even considering moving back to California. But yeah, I think it's just brought us a lot closer, a little bit more open too, of like saying, I love you. Because even that simple word, those simple words weren't mentioned just freely before. Like it wasn't even with my mom. I don't think I ever really used to just be like, okay, I love you, mom, after a phone call or something. Like it wasn't as common. And now, I mean, obviously she knows I love her, and we all know each other. We love each other, but it wasn't as like a free 3-letter word that you'd say. But now it's more like, I love you.
Yeah.
I'll say it as often as I can, you know? So I think, yeah, it did.
Like this moment to kind of pause and be like, hey, you know, I'm grateful for you for being in my life and this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I think, The same thing kind of happened with one of my primos like passed. I don't think you ever met him, but he was one from Oregon, and something happened, and it was just like it was like, whoa, I was just with this person, right? You go through that whole like I was just with them, like they gave me some great advice recently, and whatever. So you start to go into all that. But the reason I asked about like your siblings and if it brought you guys closer is it kind of did something the same for me. Like I always wanted to kind of just check in on family a lot more than usual. If normally there was like a birthday party or something, I'm like, I'm not gonna go to that. Like, yeah, in my head, I'm a little more like, no, let me get out of bed. Let me make this trip because like I want to be around family. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. So
yeah, I think you know that about me. I always, which was one of our arguments, I think too. Be like, why do you want to go to another? We just saw your family. Remember?
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Because you know what it was is like you were so family oriented. You know what I mean? Like for you, I remember we're with like at least my mom's side of the family, like they were just kind of like, oh, they're throwing a blah blah blah, but we're not talking right now, so we're not going to did it. I'm like, oh, like okay, so I kind of just looked at it that way. But for you, it was like, there's a birthday party, we're going. And I'm like, we just went yesterday. He's like, yeah, but that was your sister. I was like, they're gonna do a back to back, like like
they couldn't share the day.
They couldn't share it. So it's like I remember that. I remember going into that process. I'm like kind of like, oh my God. And I remember like you. I think you called me a little bitch.
It sounds like something I would say.
No, because I was just like, we're going to another. Like we were just there last week. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why do we need to go to so many birthdays? Like you're being a little bitch. And I was like, oh,
oh shit. I wouldn't doubt
hilarious.
it. I'm very free spoken.
Hilarious. But like it like seeing your family again, this is another thing, like seeing your family and just how like loving all you guys were, how filled with life, like it made me like jealous that like my family wasn't like that.
I remember you telling me that.
I remember like going back to my mom like like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like why aren't we this close? Why aren't we like to the point where like your dad's calling you like, hey, you're late, where are you? Mm-hmm. And you were like, we're gonna go. You know what I mean?
He's outside.
Yeah.
He knows I'm here.
And your dad had a talk with me one time. I don't know if you remember that.
What?
He was grilling. Yeah, we had showed up late for something. And once we get there, your dad was like, and you couldn't tell when your dad was angry because he kind of had the same face. He kind of just, it looked like he always had that smile like under his bigote. So he was like, he was cooking. And then I don't think like he intentionally called me over, but like I was just kind of around and he goes, mira, Eric, cuando con mi familia aquí tenemos, it basically he's just saying it's very important for the family to be here whenever we have events like this. Like it's very important to me. So, don't bring her late again. Yeah. And I remember thinking like, well, it was her fault. No, because I remember thinking like, oh shit. But that was like the first time I heard someone kind of speak up like, family's important, dude.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, why aren't we like that? Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a weird turn for me.
Yeah. Till this day, if anything, I think I've gotten even more aggressive with being around family. Like I think before, I would be like, oh, I can't go because I'm filming this, I'm doing that. Mm-hmm. Even though clearly we were at a lot of these family events, but now I'm kind of like, I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. I'm gonna reschedule that shoot or whatever, and I'm gonna go and be with my grandma, or even obviously more now than ever after my dad. But yeah, family has always been number one for me, and yeah, I saw it because I grew up around that. My dad was very strong about that, and my mom too.
I think that's super important, and what a like blessing too, because I feel like that's very rare. There's not a lot of like. I mean, like my parents were split up, so it's like it becomes a very rare thing to kind of go into a family, parents still together, everything else. And so like, I felt like that kind of prepared me to what is that like with my wife now, if she has like family things, like they're very big on it too. They're kind of just like, hey, we're going to be there. Like, and her sisters, everybody's just kind of like, hey, we got to go. And in my head, like a switch literally goes off like, yep, got to go.
Yeah.
And I think about that conversation with your dad.
Wow.
How it was just like, hey, this is important. This is important to me. And I was like, yes, sir. You know, but it's now like in my mental thought also too, like, yeah, like I almost missed out on today, thinking like, oh, I was lazy, I didn't want to go or that, but like I'm always glad like I end up going, and you know, it's like family things or events. So if you're out there, you know, and you got the family, and you know, definitely make sure you take that time to appreciate everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, life is literally very short.
Life is short.
I know people always hear that and say that, but it's true, man. You never know. I literally wake up and I say, "Thank you, God, I'm awake."
Amen.
And I say also the same thing going to bed. I'm like, "Okay, first off, my prayer is thank you cuz I'm literally laying in bed right now."
Yeah.
Yeah. And you never know. You can pass in your sleep. You like literally never know.
That scares me too. Sometimes.
Yeah, which wouldn't be a bad way to go.
Honestly.
But like, Lord,
Well,
if
like
you're
I had things
listening-
to do tomorrow. Like,
I did have a trip planned, but if you have other plans,
yeah.
yeah. But that's so funny because that's probably one of the things that when people say, "How do you want to die?" I was like, "Asleep." I don't know why anyone would ever want to go any other way. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it's the unexpected. Like, oh, whoa, you know, you're just waking up over your body, like, what the fuck?
yeah, this is just a dream.
Yeah. It's definitely.
Mine always feels so real. Yeah.
Any last minute advice you want to leave off on, or tell people, you know, even based off of this conversation, something that maybe you had a realization, epiphany that you want to leave with let the people know.
Don't take the most corniest thing ever, but don't take life for granted. If you want something, do whatever it takes legally. Okay. No, but like really, like go live the life you've dreamed of, live the life you deserve, and spend every minute of the day with the people that make you the happiest, because one day you're here and one day you're not.
Amen.
Amen
that
to
and look for God. I promise you that's gonna fulfill a lot of areas in your life. And if you feel like you're ever going through something and you're like, oh, nobody understands me, nobody knows my pain, nobody, you know, like, trust me, there's a story in the Bible that person went through 10 times worse, you know. So I think it's really good to, one, we learned today, giving ourselves grace.
Yeah.
Learning that, one, I mean, we're not perfect, right? And then 2, 3,
Not good with math after all.
learn to count. No, but hopefully you guys took something from this podcast, and I want to thank my second guest, first, second, whatever episode number I throw you in here for, Gabby Bañuelos. Let the people know, do you have anything going on right now? Anything on social media? I know it's still OGabby.
Yeah,
on
it's at
Instagram.
OGabby 0HGABY. Yeah. Everyone always finds the other one. I'm like,
I remember when you
that's
made
not
that, by the way. That
I
account.
know somebody took the O, and I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
ugh.
well, try to zeal. Let's just confuse the whole world now. I'm sorry.
Seriously, no one can
Yeah.
ever find me. But
You should change that then.
no, because there's already the
Link below.
Anyways, the link will be there. But yeah, I have something coming out on Tubi. Nothing.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Really?
hopefully this year. It's a little cute co-star role, but
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, and hopefully keep pursuing the dream, and going out there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much again for coming, driving out, and being a part of this episode. Hope everybody learned something from it, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.